Ladies and gentlemen, something terrible today happened in Seme.
No.
The funeral of James Nyikal's father turned chaotic.
I walked there to Senator Jenda and I asked him, these people came with you. Can you tell them to stop? To stop. Senator, were you able to stop them? They nearly killed my son. Let us be popular. Let us be truly popular. Be able to walk to a funeral alone. Let us be able to walk to funeral alone. I think popularity is like love. You can't buy it with money. You may get it with money, but it will be lust, not love.
And James Orengo was forced out before addressing the mourners.
Tutulie sasa. Vijana tutulie please. Vijana tutulie please. Tunaomba utulivu vijana. Vijana tunaomba utulivu. Vijana tunaomba utulivu. Aya. Vijana tunaomba utulivu please.
And the presiding bishop got angry and lectured MPs like children.
You are not talking about this. To make matters worse, civil servants and teachers have no proper medical scheme because SHA is not working for them. I'm yet to hear a member of parliament speak to that. Figures don't lie. They speak the truth. Our universities are terribly underfunded. If you look at 2025, 2026, 2027, university funds faces a deficit of 20.8 billion. Deficit in scholarship is 12.6. For the 2025-2026 is 9.6. So total arrears is big. Help that helps our vulnerable children is at 35.1 billion in deficit. Having received only 41.1 against required 76.3. Unfortunately, the government places priority elsewhere. What you are telling us, development, and our children are handicapped. Parliament ought to do something. I know today you will tell us about 1 term, 2 term. Even as you say that, tell us what is going to happen to our children who are in crisis in schools. Even as you say that, tell us about the health crisis that we are faced as a country.
But I want to focus on the incident involving James Orengo, because I reviewed the video when Orengo arrived. And you can clearly also see that when Orengo arrived, he was well received. The crowd inside the tent also received him well. What happened and what went wrong?
Party leader! Party leader!
MP for Nyikal is my chairman, and I'm his vice chairman, and I come from a place called Naraka.
Did someone somewhere mobilize the crowd after Orengo arrived for Orengo to be heckled? But again, if you look at, if you review the clips very closely again, you realize that the same people who were seated inside the tent were the ones who were heckling James Orengo. Ladies and gentlemen, before we dig deep into that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, there is something which is now happening in Nyanza, and we must call it out. Our youths are misbehaving. As a matter of fact, most of the leaders are nowadays not willing to attend events because they know that once they attend those events, they're actually going to be harassed. Because they know that once they attend those events, the chances of them being harassed are normally high. There was a time, was it last year? I went to a funeral in Rangwe and I was shocked. The youths were literally going after each and every vehicle which was leaving, and they were demanding for some money. So which means there is something which is wrong. There was a burial of Davis Chirchir's father in Bomet. And anybody who followed that event, it was so well organized to an extent that people went there. Leaders were just walking freely. And even the tents where catering was arranged, people just went. If you wanted to eat, you just go and eat without any problem. But that cannot happen in our region. So which means there is something. But what is the reason why this is happening? Why do you think James Orengo was forced out of the podium? For me, number one is the tension in ODM party. But should it be allowed to continue? Because what is going to happen is that tomorrow there's going to be an event, not necessarily a funeral, but there's going to be an event in Siaya, and these other leaders will attend. And I don't want to assume a situation where Oburu Odinga, at his age, is being shouted down by youths because they don't want him to speak. Orengo, at his age, even if he's wrong politically, deserve respect from our people. It sends a very bad signal. So for me, it's the tension within ODM party. So the ODM leadership must figure out how they are going to resolve some of these issues. Because let's assume even if Orengo decided that he's forming his own party, what is wrong with that? See, ballot itamua. Because the truth is, if you move around, let me not go there, but you know, if you move around and you ask people which side they will vote for, 1 term or 2 term, you will clearly get the answer. So it should not waste a lot of people's time. Number 2, I think what is happening today is something which has been happening. But the person who was protecting the Luo Nation from this shame, the person who covered the shame on behalf of the community, is gone. Raila Odinga used to cover a lot for us. With the death of Raila Amolo Odinga, it is now very clear that in the Luo Nation, we have very few leaders. Leaders who don't even know when and where to fight. So why would, for example, Ojianda carry youth from Kisumu town to go with them to accompany him to that funeral? What was the fear? What was he trying to prove? Because that was just a funeral. So I think Raila Odinga covered for the Luo community a lot of shame. So his absence now is actually exposing the shame. And importantly, I think there is lack of leadership. I don't know whether we should blame the leaders or we should blame ourselves or everybody has just turned out to be indisciplined. But serious leadership is lacking in Luo Nyanza. Because even if you went with your youths, you needed to brief them that, we are going for a funeral. Just go there, behave, unless you see something wrong happening. Or when I'm given a chance, you can stand up, or you can shout my name, or even, just clap for me, even if I speak nothing. So there's lack of proper leadership. But importantly, there's likely going to be a spiral effect on this. And that's the worst part of it. Because the spiral effect is not going to be on a positive. It's going to be on the negative. So if you chase Orengo today, tomorrow his people will chase you. You chase Gladys today, tomorrow his people will chase you. And that's why I maintain that the Luo nation should figure out who they want to lead them post Raila Odinga. That person should be someone who is capable of articulating issues affecting the community directly. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.